How dare you show your face here? Get him out of this ballroom immediately.
You should be arrested for this.
Like a quiet warning no one noticed yet. Two men in dark suits leaned in close, their faces tight with forced calm, their grip firm on his arm. Around them, the music kept playing, laughter floated through the air, and the lights shimmered as if nothing was wrong. But something was very wrong. He did not fight. He did not raise his voice. He simply looked up, steady and calm, eyes dark and clear, taking in the room that had decided he did not belong. His name was Elijah Grant. He sat in a VIP seat at one of the most powerful charity galas in the city. Crystal glasses lined the tables. Soft lights reflected off polished floors. The air smelled like expensive perfume and fresh flowers. People wore confidence like a second skin. And yet the moment they touched him, the room began to change. Elijah was tall, broad-shouldered, with a calm presence that came from years of learning how to stand still under pressure. His suit fit him perfectly, tailored but simple. A silver watch rested on his wrist, worn smooth from years of use. He did not look confused. He looked prepared. The men whispered that there had been a mistake, that this seat was reserved, that they needed him to move. Now around them heads turned. Some people froze mid-sip. Others pretended not to see. A few watched with thin smiles, curiosity hiding behind polite faces. No one spoke. Silence stretched, thick and heavy. Elijah let them guide him a step away from the table. His shoes moved across the floor with slow control. Inside him, memories stirred. Not fear, not anger. Something deeper. Years earlier, Elijah had stood in a different kind of room. Dust hung in the air then. Heat pressed down on his skin. The smell of metal and smoke filled his lungs. He had been younger, wearing a uniform, carrying responsibility that felt heavier than his body some days. He remembered the weight of a helmet, the tight grip on his gear, the sound of his own breath when the world felt too loud. He remembered learning how to stay calm when everything inside wanted to run. Those years shaped him. He came from a small town where his mother worked long shifts, and his father taught him that dignity was not something you demanded. It was something you carried. Elijah learned early how to listen more than he spoke, how to move with purpose, how to wait for the right moment. When he left for service, he promised his family he would come back whole. He came back alive, but changed. He carried loss quietly. Friends who did not return, nights that stayed restless. He built something new from that weight. He studied, worked, failed, tried again. He built a company from nothing, focused on clean energy and fair work. He hired people others overlooked. He listened when others rushed. Slowly, the company grew, then faster, until one day, his name appeared in business magazines, his ideas quoted by people who had never once looked him in the eye. Elijah Grant became a CEO, but titles did not change how the world sometimes saw him. Back in the gala, the men tightened their grip. One of them glanced around, uneasy now. The attention was growing. The quiet was spreading. A woman nearby shifted in her chair, lips pressed together. A man at the next table frowned, sensing something off but unsure whether to intervene. Elijah felt the smooth edge of his watch under his thumb. A habit, a grounding touch. He stayed silent. One of the men said they had to follow protocol, that mistakes happen, that they would fix this quietly. Quietly, Elijah looked toward the stage. The banner above read words about honor, service, and leadership. He had donated more to this event than most people in the room. He was the keynote speaker scheduled for later that night, but he did not say that silence was his power. As they moved him closer to the edge of the room, a woman stood up near the back. She was older, dressed in a simple dark gown, her posture straight. She watched Elijah with recognition, not confusion. Her eyes followed the men holding his arm. She said nothing yet. The tension thickened. People felt it now. The music faded into the background of their awareness. Conversations stalled. Someone dropped a fork. A few guests shifted uncomfortably, their smiles fading. Elijah's mind stayed clear. He remembered a line he once told his team during a hard year. "You do not need to shout when the truth can stand on its own." The men stopped near the aisle. One reached for a radio. Another avoided Elijah's eyes. That was when a voice from the stage spoke his name. Not loud. Not angry. Just clear. Heads snapped toward the sound. The host paused, confusion crossing his face. He looked at the scene unfolding and then back at his notes. The woman from the back had moved closer now. She stood beside them, her presence calm but firm. She asked a simple question. "Is there a reason you are removing our keynote speaker from his seat?" The room froze. The men released Elijah's arm without realizing they had done it. Color drained from one face. The other swallowed hard. The host's eyes widened. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. A few people gasped softly. Others leaned forward, finally paying full attention. Elijah remained still. Another line formed in the air. One that would later be shared far beyond that room. Respect does not ask permission. It shows itself when no one expects it. The woman introduced herself. She was a board member, a founding donor, someone whose name carried weight in rooms like this. The men stumbled through. Explanations, seats, mix-ups, security concerns. Security. Elijah looked around at the faces now watching him. Some filled with shame, some with surprise, some with something close to understanding. The host stepped down from the stage, voice trembling as he apologized. Not the fast kind meant to move on, but slow, careful, aware that something deeper had been exposed. Elijah was invited back to his seat. He did not rush. He walked with steady steps, shoulders relaxed, eyes forward. As he passed the tables, people stood. Not all at once, but one by one. A ripple of movement. Chairs pushed back. Heads bowed slightly. The room was silent. When Elijah reached his seat, he paused. He looked at the chair, then at the crowd. He spoke then, calmly, his voice even and clear. "I have been removed from rooms before. What matters is not who pulls the chair away, but who chooses to stand when it happens." No one clapped at first. They were just still. Then applause rose, not loud, but deep, respectful, real. The men who had grabbed him stood to the side now, small and uncertain. Later that night, when Elijah took the stage, the air felt different. He spoke about leadership, about unseen labor, about how systems reflect the values of those who build them. He did not shame. He did not accuse. He invited reflection. He said another line that would stay with many. True power does not rush to prove itself. It waits, and then it changes the room. By the end of the night, policies were reviewed. Apologies were issued publicly. Donations increased. Conversations shifted. But the real change was quieter. People left that gala carrying a moment they could not forget. A moment when silence spoke louder than force. When dignity held the line, Elijah returned home late, the city lights passing by his window. He loosened his tie, breathing deeply. He thought of his parents, of the friends he had lost, of the long road that had brought him here. He did not feel victorious. He felt grounded, because he knew this was not just about one seat. It was about every space where someone is judged before they are known. Every room where silence waits for courage. The next morning, messages poured in. Support, gratitude, reflection, people saying they would stand next time, that they would speak. That they had learned something. Elijah read them quietly. Some battles are not won with words. They are won with presence. With patience. With the courage to remain steady when the world tests you. That night at the gala became a reminder far beyond its walls. That dignity does not need an invitation, and silence, when carried with honor, can stop a room full of power in its tracks. If this story stayed with you, share where you are watching from. Tell us what moment spoke to you the most, and subscribe for more stories that honor quiet strength, unseen courage, and the power of standing firm without ever raising your voice.